Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's weekly Town Hall meeting, January 23rd, 2023. Today's agenda: project development updates, documentation updates, marketing and content updates, collaborations, and Q&A. Robinson, can you please start us off with project and development updates?
Sure. Thank you. Good day, everyone. And let's kickstart the updates with our overall engineering metrics. So just to recap, we have started using the DORA metrics for last 2 quarters, and we're trying to increase the number of deployments or releases that we are pushing to the end users. And this primarily the method that we're using is primarily a DevOps first tool, and we generate these metrics by looking at the repositories. With that, and we track 4 items: speed, deployments or releases, throughput, and finally the quantity. So the first item here is the speed metric, or how much time we're taking to deploy something, like release something or deploy something starting from the commit. So the current change lead time is little high. It's around minutes, 50 days essentially. And the trend was also showing the exactly the similar, exactly the same pattern. And I think this is mostly derived. This is mostly influenced by the one next deployment that we had, and I think we need to improvise on this, and as we get into the development on peer view and together the upcoming projects, this should look better. That's on the speed aspect. Let's go to the next slide. On the deployment, this is the sole contribution is from a next deployment that we had. Now this is interesting to note that we didn't have a release yet, but we had an automated deployment via GitLab. So as I said, it's since we're looking at mostly at the DevOps activities, the DORA metrics by both the tools that we use, both GitLab and Haystack, both had picked up these deployments. So we had essentially over a period of last 2 weeks, we had one deployment that is a release candidate for next. So that's been captured here. So deployment metric. Let's go to the next one. On the throughput side, again, we are pretty much same like what we had last week, 4.2 PRs per week. And this is again contributed mostly by the PRs or MRs on the next repo. Yeah, let's go to the next slide for the quality metric. Okay, this quality metric is pretty interesting because the deployment that we had, the release candidate of Next, that had a GitLab merge request with the title bug. So the DORA metric has concluded that we had a production deployment, and there was a bug against the production deployment. So that is why the CFR, or the change failure rate, that is shown as 100. So what this means is we had one deployment, and we had one failure against it. Now this is going to be the case once we go to the production also. Once we push these products like Next into production, any bug that comes into the production, that will result in reports like this. So that's the quality one. So overall, it looks like the number of PRs we need to improvise and also work towards increasing the number of releases. That's a conclusion from the DORA metrics, or the overall our entire engineering metrics across the organization. moving on to the product updates, starting with the blockchain updates. So the major work that is being going on is we're preparing for a release, or rather a beta release, and we have few bugs when we are syncing this, but syncing the current active development code base with the mainnet. So we have fixed, identified, and addressed issues until the previous Hive-related hard fork. So we might be having 2 or 3 outstanding aspects to be identified and fixed. So we are replaying against the mainnet and addressing these issues. And on the QA side, the Suns, especially the Ethereum side and other ones, we're finding smaller improvements and addressing them. And we're also working towards increasing the test coverage, especially on the Suns side. Oh, yeah, on another major work that's happening is the Bitcoin updates that we're making, that we've done. We are integrating that with the current code base. So that's another major chunk of work that's happening. And it's interesting to note that it had taken us a lot of time to get the Bitcoin synced. So we'll mostly have to host it in a downloadable manner. When I say host it, the Bitcoin index will have to be hosted somewhere for the Sun operators to be downloaded and used it. So that was one interesting observation with Bitcoin that we are proceeding with. And on the on our future work on the blockchain platform, the substrate based work, we have resumed work last week since the developers are back from vacation. So we have restarted the work, and the current focus is on identifying the node selection algorithm and the consensus mechanisms involved, and how to extend them. Now, since we are using the substrate framework from Polkadot, it has numerous consensus mechanisms and node selection mechanisms. And the specific code base that we are using that uses depots. But substrate itself has various other implementations as well. So it's really challenging to identify the exact way how the consensus and the node selection is implemented. So we're working on that. And in addition to the node selection, there is this consensus piece is also important, which uses for especially for the finality, the framework uses certain algorithms. So we are trying to maintain them as it is, so that in future, if at all we require compatibility with the Polkadot network, we can achieve the same. So this node selection and consensus enhancement or extending of those that we're trying to make, it's pretty complex, and that's active focus. Okay, please go to the next slide. So this slide has a summary of the upcoming features which has been actively in various stages of development and in QA. So the major feature that's going to be introduced is the Ethereum Suns with support for the native token ETH. That's the major chunk of work. Now, I've not mentioned ERC20 in here because we may not introduce the ERC20 at this point. Maybe for another release, because it's there are too many changes here. But in the next few weeks, let's say in the next 1.5 months, if we are seeing that we are able to complete the QA in a meaningful manner, we will consider the support for ERC 20 as well. And another major improvement is we have logically splitted the way SUNS was working. So we have different sets of operators for each sidechain now, which means you can have a Sun operator participating only in the Bitcoin sidechain and not in the Hive sidechain, and obviously for Ethereum. So those changes are being done, and it's under QA. And most of our incompatibility with the mainnet right now, this is arising due to this particular change that we have introduced. And the next one is, the Bitcoin changes. I've mentioned this improvement previously. Another major improvement is that we now have connection pools for each sidechain endpoint. So this was like earlier we had more or less like a single point of failure whenever any of the API endpoint goes down. So we are addressing this with a connection pools, and it's extremely time consuming to test it, because to verify this we'll have to essentially switch on and off the sidechain API endpoints in some fashion, and verifying that for multiple side chains it's a pretty daunting task. So these are the major, this is a summary of major new features along with various bug fixes and improvements that we're working on. Okay, on the next, the quick summary is that the current released version is 4.0, and most of the focus is on, just like I was mentioning all the previous weeks, we've been improving our QA automation coverage. We have 50 plus test cases automated right now. And on the development side, detailed list is in the next slide. In general, along with updates, we are also trying to improvise the test coverage as well. And so we have a release candidate for next available. Now, this has improvements across the board for market page and GPOS page, and the minimal block explorer that we have in the next, that also has lots of cosmetic improvements. So in the market page, the UI is getting changed dramatically. So that we'll be able to see a lot of improvement when we finally make the production release by mid-Feb. And on the test coverage aspect, we have close to 8% of test coverage right now. This is not on the main branch. This is from the upcoming one of the latest branches. So we are trying to increase the coverage. So our goal was to achieve at least 25%, but we are launching around this 10%, because introducing the TDD at a later point in the development is slightly tricky, and we are witnessing that firsthand. Apart from the test coverage, all our aspects like reliability. Oh yeah, this report is Sonar Cloud report. Yeah, so I was trying to say that apart from the TDD, all other metrics for the next code base looks pretty impressive. Yeah, we looks like we're having a A grade. So the coverage is something that we are lagging behind, and we are actively working on. So that's the major updates from the development team. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robinson. Sean, documentation updates, please.
Hello, everyone. Just have a small update today. We have our Kickstart guide for new developers. So if and when we onboard any new developers, we have a checklist for them. And then we have our fee details document, which is nearly complete. So we'll have that on our community page. And So you can check that out and learn up about the operation fees. We continue to work with GBC to dial in their requirements for peer review. So we're working with them, and we will get the requirements. All right, and that's my update for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Michael, marketing and content updates, please.
Thank you, Kelly. Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone, wherever you are. Happy Monday. Once again, the primary focus for this week for the marketing and content team is to finalize the DEX campaign launch plan. We're still aiming for the date of February 14th as per last week's leadership meeting. As mentioned previously, we will run for approximately 30 days, a 2-week pre-launch period where the focus will be reach and engagement during the dates of February 1st and February 13th, and a 2-week post-launch campaign focused on traffic generation to the platform itself between February 14th and March 1st. We will be finalizing a bunch of assets, which I'll detail in a moment, at a meeting tomorrow with the entire team. And obviously, we won't set it and leave it after the launch period is over for the campaign, the 30 days. Beyond the campaign window, we will be including ongoing weekly support for the launch in our social media, in our weekly newsletter, and via community platform sharing on Scenes and on Rocket Chat. Next slide, Kelly, please. I'm delighted to share with you that we set the ad campaign budget for $33,000. We will be splitting that in 2 ways. $1,000 for the pre-launch campaign, which will be pointing to a website article, which will detail all of the wonderful features that the new platform has, and $2,000 for the post-launch campaign with traffic generation leading people to the platform itself. We've outlined the dates for all of the social media posts. Mo is being incredibly busy creating all content for the assets listed on the right. And we will be finalizing all of these assets this week, primarily tomorrow and Wednesday, to make sure that they are ready to go for the launch of the ad campaign. Next slide, Kelly, please. In addition to all of the written content, Oksana's been busy and Christina's been busy prepping images for the ad campaigns. We've sourced over 100 screen grabs from the platform itself, so we can literally lead people through a journey on the user experience path once you're in the platform itself, and obviously social media posts as well. Next slide, Kelly, please. In addition to the work for the DEX campaign launch, I know that all of you have been excited to read and see the Peerplays vision document for 2023. We have shared that in multiple locations. You can download it from the vision page on the website. It's been shared by Vlad in the Scenes Strategic Community Forum on Scenes. We will all have received an email on Thursday of last week, which is specifically linking and provided a download link to the vision document itself. And we also included it in the weekly email from Friday of last week. Next slide, Kelly, please. The weekly emails continue to perform in keeping with previous versions from previous weeks. We sit around 13 to 15%. Those are obviously increased as we point back to these weekly emails in the DEX user campaign. The vision document email went out on Thursday of last week, and thank you to everyone who's read it. The top links for the weekly email that went out on Friday include people downloading the link for the Peerplays vision document, the Nimble overview, which Robinson shared at last week's town hall, the blockchain updates, and also the reaction video from last week, which is really interesting. So I encourage all of you to click on it. And that concludes this week's marketing campaign update. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Michael. Jonathan, collaboration update, please.
Good morning, everybody. So these are the collaboration updates for Peerplays for this past week. Within the gaming sector, our collaboration ongoing with the Gaming Benefits Corporation, that is in the regulated charitable gaming sector. We had another meeting, a couple of meetings with them this past week. As Sean mentioned, we're still working with them in regards to the requirements. The work that we're doing with them is contributing to what we call peer review. That's essentially something that allows for being able to view certain aspects of what's happening in the Peerplays blockchain that is contributing to their particular application within the gaming sector. So that's going to be that's still ongoing and going well. Within the medical sector, Mars VR Labs, that is the collaboration in regards to a gamified rehabilitation platform. So they're continuing to do development with Peerplays. They have made progress over the course of the past couple of months with connecting their VR game to Peerplays blockchain, and they are still underway with it. We just got a report this past week, which detailed some of the specs in terms of how it would work. It all looks really good. Also had a meeting where they talked about the current response to their solution within the medical community is very positive. The medical community, though, is a lot like the gaming community in relation to the regulatory hurdles they go through when it comes to accepting new products. So as noted in the past, this is certainly something that's going to take time, but the response thus far they're getting from all across the industry is very, very positive. So it's just a matter of time until they actually get into the space. But with the work that they've done so far with Peerplays, they are going to be introducing that as part of the package. So that's all going well. So yeah, there was that update this past week. Community. So with Avalon Meta, in regards to the Scenes community platform, we had another call with them in regards to recent updates. We had another update for the test area we have for Scenes for the Peerplays community. It's gone well. It looks like they've resolved a lot of the core issues that we were having in the past. I was set to have some other calls. Unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts, we were never able to make it. Hoping to do that this week. But overall, it looks like they've made some good progress. So looking forward to us being able to move further ahead with that in the coming weeks. And in terms of dedicated team updates, so we have a Python dev, his name is Jenshed, that worked with us for quite some time. He's no longer working with the Peerplays team. He is, however, one of the witnesses in the Peerplays blockchain, and he did say that he wanted to continue with that. So if you are looking to vote for witnesses, I'd recommend supporting his. So he's done some good work in terms of Python over the past, but with everything we have ongoing now, there was no longer a need for that work he was doing. So yeah, we wish him well, and hopefully in the future he could come back to work with us. And those are the updates for this past week.
Okay, questions, comments, thoughts? Anything coming in from here, this video? Okay, we have one question that came in from the community. Jonathan, this question's for you. How does the collaboration with Gaming Benefits Corp benefit and promote the use of Peerplays?
Okay, so thank you very much for the question. So Gaming Benefits Corporation, GBC team, and what they're doing serves a very specific untapped niche in the gaming industry using Peerplays blockchain that they're really well suited to fill. They've essentially they're really connectors. They've developed relationships with many charitable organizations like the Veteran Service Affairs Offices, the VSOs across the United States, which are some of the largest drivers of charity-based gaming that goes on in the U.S. They have been a lead for the gaming work group at the Government Blockchain Association for a few years now, and they've networked with some of the leading regulatory agencies in the world, including GLI, to bring blockchain check into the gaming world. They're totally dedicated to the idea of having blockchain brought into the regulatory gaming world. So that's somewhat unique in this space, as we came to learn from our past experience. But needless to say, this is a slow-going road that requires a lot of persistence and connections, which is why we're very happy to be working with them, and most likely, and they're more likely to see success from this kind of collaboration versus trying to go at it on our own, which is what has been tried in the past, as many would know. For them, they have leveraged their ability to act as connectors to the regulators, to existing gaming developers, and blockchain, of course, i.e. Peerplays, to form the company that serves the charitable gaming sector specifically. So they've managed to take all these dispersed elements to form this single one that's going to target charitable gaming. So to do that, the certification process alone for these types of applications can take several months. So we know actually from our own experience getting the Peerplays decentralized RNG verified through GLI. We did that a couple years ago. That it takes a lot of time and effort, and so collaborating with an organization that's dedicated to bringing their own to market is far more efficient. So it was actually it was through their help of some of the members that are now part of GBC that we were able to make that breakthrough process happen with Peerplays decentralized RNG actually getting GLI verified. So yeah, they've already contributed in some way to Peerplays. Now, while I can't go and spill the beans on their whole strategy to the public, I can say that if they manage to do even half of what they plan to do with the available market, there are already existing connections, and with some larger gaming distributors across the United States, which they have connections with, it will be a very good news story for Peerplays by way of transaction volume. Also for tech adoption in the regulated gaming space, which actually is still largely untapped. There's plenty of gaming activity happening in blockchain, but the regulated space has not touched it. So as I've explained in previous updates, the work thus far has been to lay the groundwork. That's primarily what they've. That's pretty much all they could be doing at this stage. And this year, they'll be ready to introduce to the market. So with this, it will mean that Peerplays will be at the center of what regulators in the gaming industry will look to as a solution, which could potentially extend to other gaming applications to increase the verity of data. Right, we're using blockchain to get verifiable results and reduce overhead for both gaming operators as well as regulators. So, yeah, in terms of how that collaboration helps with Peerplays, there's just it could lead to many potential big deals, but it all starts with these small steps. But just like with all things, when it comes to anything that has to do with regulated markets, it's complicated, it's slow, and it takes a lot of effort. So I'm quite happy that we have GBC working with Peerplays to be able to do this. So yeah, that's pretty much it about in terms of how it benefits Peerplays.
Thank you very much. Okay, that concludes today's weekly town hall meeting, January 23rd, 2023. I hope you all have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.